Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We may have the other guys join here in a second. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know this, Tim. It is Friday. We made it. It's Daddy Soda time. Just cracked open a nice fresh Daddy Soda, having some Grippo potatoes. Anybody ever had Grippos in the chat? Let me know. And shout out to Grippo. Sponsor the show. I think it's more of a southern thing down here around Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee. We can't get them in Tennessee, Tim. We got to go. Sounds like something illegal. We got to go across state line.
You got to cross the border. And
to go get these barbecue flavored potato chips. They're pretty darn good, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here talking some ball, man. I know we're doing a little defense heavy talk today as we proceed through the show, so I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely, man. So here's what we got on tap, guys. We're going to hit first off just kind of a global talk. ESPN Power Index for the NFL. It's kind of like their power ranking system, and obviously people haven't released their preseason power rankings yet. Most folks haven't, so we'll hit that. We'll also talk a little Jeff Hafley scheme, as Tim was talking about, and then we're going to do Rashawn Gary Chalk Talk. I think it's going to be an awesome episode. We'll see if we can get you guys and gals out of here as early as possible. But if you would, though, if this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Appreciate you making us a part of your evening. Hit that like, hit that sub. If you like daily Packers content, this is the place to be. In season, postseason, off season, doesn't matter season, right? We're always in here talking Packers and trying to break down the things that matter. You're not going to get your Mount Rushmore of pizzas and all that stuff here on this show. We nerd out with football and kind of keep things football centric. Other than the chat gets a little off the rails. I ain't gonna lie, man. So there you go. Soda knows what I'm talking about, baby. Grippo's barbecue chips, a pride of Cincinnati. So there you go, man. They are in Ohio. I do remember that. So,
okay, all right.
Yeah, we'll get you some, Tim. I'm gonna get you a bag and send it up there for sure.
Nice.
I would send one to A-Fan, but he's gonna get that barbecue seasoning all in the mustache. It ain't gonna work, man. I'm just telling you now. So. All right, let's jump into it, Tim. I'm excited about this just to kind of get our first look as we are 7 days away from quarterback reporting to camp. Let's go and dive right in to how ESPN sees the league currently. This is their NFL Football Power Index, all right? And just to kind of give you guys an idea of what this is, the Football Power Index, FPI, is a measure of team strength that is meant to be the best predictor of a team's performance going forward for the rest of the season. FPI represents how many points above or below average a team is. Projected results are based on 10,000 simulations of the rest of the season using FPI results to date and the remaining schedule. Ratings and projections update daily. So obviously we're going in, everybody's sitting at 0-0. So we're kind of getting the preseason Football Power Index. There's that spiciness right there hitting home. So let's dive into it, man.
Not that Kansas City barbecue like AFAM likes, right? It's a little different barbecue.
That stuff's illegal in 6 states, last I heard. So I don't know about that. Starting off the top of the list here, Tim, no surprise, Philadelphia Eagles at number 1. We got the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. Here we go. Kansas City Chiefs at 2, Baltimore Ravens 3, Buffalo Bills 4, Detroit Lions 5, Washington Commanders 6, Cincinnati Bengals 7, your Green Bay Packers in the number 8 spot, the LA Chargers 9, and the LA Rams 10. You know, the thing that catches me off guard a little bit, Tim, just on the surface here, the Chargers being 9th is a little like, didn't really expect that. Maybe I'm sleeping on them a little bit, man. How do you feel about how the top 10 shakes out here in terms of ESPN's Football Power Index?
That's kind of how I felt about Cincinnati. I mean, no disrespect to Joey B and the boys, but I thought maybe the Packers could have locked that spot up. I thought maybe we'd flip with the Bengals in the top 10. And yeah, the Chargers creeping up there, that's a little bit of a shocker, but I don't think it's super crazy. And again, this is like the aggregate going into this year, right? We're basing this off of how last season ended, kind of what we're looking at going into 2025 right now. It is a little surprising to see the Chargers up there. kind of surprising to see San Francisco teetering around just outside the top 10 as well. So a couple surprises there.
Yeah, and it kind of shows you that I think the way they're seeing San Francisco, Tim, is injuries is what got them last year. And listen, I partially agree. I do. Shanahan's a great coach. Brock Purdy's a great quarterback. If they stay healthy, you got Fred Warner and Nick Bosa on the defensive side of the ball. You got Christian McCaffrey, once again, if he stays healthy, one of the better running backs in the game, right? So George Kittle, arguably the best tight end in the game now that Kelsey's kind of starting to taper off a little bit. So I get it. I can see why they're hovering around up there, but at the same time, I'm not going to be surprised if they fall flat on their face as well. So, again, that's kind of the big thing that sticks out to me. And the fact that the Packers are 8th, Tim, how do you feel about Green Bay being at 8? Do you feel like that's too high, too low, right in the sweet spot? I feel like it's about where I would expect them. I mean, that's, as someone said here in the chat, Deadfish says, we are 4th in the NFC, don't like being behind Washington, but we will take care of that week 2. That's a great point. Now, what a week 2 matchup that's going to be. According to ESPN, the number 6 team and the number 8 team in the entire league. And arguably, I guess that would be team 3 and 4 in the NFC. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. What do you think about Green Bay at 8, Tim?
Yeah, I think it's pretty damn accurate. I'd like us to be higher, but I think it's fair. Like I said, maybe at best you could argue we would flip-flop with Cincinnati. But bottom line, fourth team in the NFC. Certainly only 2 teams in our division, even in the conversation. So, we're not talking about the Bears or the Vikings. So I feel good about how this looks. And I think, as we go through the first quarter or even the first half of the season, you might see these rankings slide a little bit, and maybe we can creep up the list a little more.
Yeah, for sure. And Deadfish goes on to say, I don't like being behind Detroit either, but we will take care of that week 1. How about that, man? We're playing 2 of the top 3 NFC teams week 1 and week 2. I heard a lot of talk about that early in the season or early in the offseason, Tim, when the schedule was released. And I think we've got the schedule here. Bang, we'll throw that up real quick. So, yeah, people were like, man, that's brutal at the beginning of the season. If you start 0-2, you're in trouble. I don't think so. I mean, statistically speaking, I'm sure that everyone, if you do start the season 0-2, they're going to be talking about, well, the last time a team that was 0-2 went to the playoffs, it's so rare. But you're talking about 2 of the top 3 NFC teams. If you lose to both of those, and listen, I'm not saying they're going to lose to both of them. I'm not saying that we're going to win both those games. I'm simply saying it's not the end of the world if you lose to 2 of the top 3 teams in the NFC, with you being the 4th. Because the chances are you're going to go on a pretty good run the rest of the season and still have a good shot at making the playoffs if you stay healthy. Now, with that being said, I think there's a decent chance that we split one of those 2 games, whether we beat Detroit there week 1, 4:25 kickoff on Sunday, or off a short week, we beat Washington on Thursday Night Football there on Amazon Prime at 8:15 kickoff. I think that's Eastern time. So if I had to pick, though, Tim, I like our chances beating Detroit week 1 rather than Washington on a short week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm comfortable saying that we're 4-0 going into the bye, like I've said for the last few weeks. Overly confident, as I always am, and I think this is the year that maybe we don't split with Detroit. Maybe we tilt the tables and finally beat them twice. Division records doesn't seem to be, I don't want to say not as important, but it just seems like, like you said, when it comes in terms of playoff seeding, nowadays you can split the series with your division rivals most of the time. And if you stack up the right wins and don't dump too many games, you can still get in the playoffs. So it's not as vital, but for bragging rights, for my own Packer fandom pride, I'm really, really pulling for us to just beat Detroit twice this year. I'd love to see it.
Oh my God. Could you imagine the fans? It would be absolute meltdown, because all they've had to stand on last year was the fact that they beat us both games. It's all I've heard from Detroit fans, right?
Yep.
And then, of course, it's like they come back down to earth when they get in the playoffs and get their butts kicked, like it happens, pretty much every year they make the playoffs. Chris the Casual Win says Amon-Ra St. Brown is a problem. He, what's crazy too, Chris? What was he, a 4th-round pick? He was either 3rd or a 4th-round pick. He was
we grabbed the wrong St. Brown.
Yes, we did. He was one of those guys. He didn't have the measurables, right? He didn't have the traits. But again, he do? He's a high volume receiver, right? He does a good job. He just kind of got that little knack of getting open and obviously, controlling the ball at the catch point. So I'm with you, man. I'm on Ross St. Brown. You got to give respect where respect's due for sure. Respect Orange it's not a bad spot after the OK season they had. I agree with that. You come off of last year, we won 11 games. You come out and start the next season, you say you're the fourth best in the NFC and obviously the eighth best team in the league. I don't have a problem with it either, man. Soder says Rams and Seahawks will give the 49ers a run. Yeah, the Rams are going to be very interesting, especially adding Devontae Adams. To that mix. You got Puka Nacua on one side, Devontae on the other. Matt Stafford still spinning that rock. And they got Kyron Williams, another really good running back. You got Sean McVay. He's going to have that team competing, Tim. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look for them to, I think, push ahead pretty early in the NFC West for sure.
Yeah. The Seahawks are going to be interesting too, but I think I have a little more faith in the Rams just because we're going to see if Sam Darnold did actually figure it out or if it was all KOC, right? And I think the big measuring stick for that question and determine the accurate answer all year long is going to be how does J.J. McCarthy look in Minnesota with KOC and how does Sam Darnold look in Seattle, right? So that's going to be very, very interesting. But, yeah, I hear you, Soder. Ed Madden says eighth, not bad for the start of the season. Feel like we're going to move up a lot by season's end.
Yep.
I agree, man. I think we're a team that you're 1 year older in a good way. Most time you say that and you go, oh, man, is the window closing? But for the Packers, it's 1 year older is a good thing, right? And then, of course, you add a little bit of veteran help with Nate Hobbs, a young veteran, which is a good thing too.
Aaron Banks too, as well on the offensive line.
Young veteran, and then of course Mecole Hardman, young veteran. I think all of them are right around 26 or 27 years old. So got some NFL experience. They're all three. Two of the three definitely starters. We'll see what happens with Mecole. I wouldn't be surprised if he burst onto the scene. If he has a solid camp and he solidifies his 53-man roster spot, there's a chance that LaFleur says, you know what, let's put him on the field every play. Or, starter reps anyway. But we'll see. Let's see what else in the chat here. Holmes MD1 says these guys better start the season with their piss hot. That's for sure.
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
Respect Orange. It says Jair revenge game at the end of the season. It is a revenge game. I'm excited about us getting revenge on Jair. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I see it. I don't see it the other way around. And you know what? Jair is kind of one of those players that when he gets in his own head, that's when he's at his worst. When he's worried about talking trash, when he's worried about I want to cover the number one and all that stuff, let him try to put it on his shoulders. Let him try to pretend like this game is about me. And let's cook him deep. That's the way I see that. So
I would be pleasantly surprised if he was playing football at week 17 of the season.
There you go.
The rate we've been going lately. So hopefully we do see him back at Lambeau at the end of the year.
Yeah, I do not want him to get hurt. I know there's some fans that are like, if he goes out and gets banged up, they're going to be like, told you so. I want him to be healthy, and I want Matthew Golden to absolutely cook him. That's what I want. And that's nothing against Jair. I don't have any ill will toward Jair. You guys know for $6 million, I wanted him back with the Packers. But he ain't wearing that green and gold anymore, Tim. He's fair game. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Hey, like I said it on X. I had a post. I said, I wish you nothing but the best, except for that week 17 matchup back at Lambeau Field,
Yeah. Let's see here. H.E. Solder says, beat the Lions week 1 and Washington in week 2. Bust the damn rankings. That's what I'm talking about. Come out there. It's us against the world. Ed Madden says, with Seattle's O-line, I think Darnold will be seeing a lot of ghosts. Have you ever seen that clip, Tim, from NFL Films where he played the Patriots? They were playing the Patriots, and I can't remember, he threw like his second or third interception of the game, and they had him mocked up, and on the sideline he went, I'm seeing ghosts out there.
Yeah.
Like, God, it's the coolest sound.
Yeah.
And what he meant by that, for those of you who don't know, when a quarterback talks about seeing ghosts, you probably heard Mike Holmgren say it to Brett Favre back in the 90s. Is, hey, don't go seeing any ghosts out there. It means don't outthink yourself and don't buy into the pre-snap sugar and think, okay, I know what the film study has showed us all week. I know what their tendencies are. I know where our matchups are. I know how our game plan is geared around attacking those tendencies, attacking those matchups. But they're showing this look right now. I'm going here. And next thing you know, it wasn't the look you thought you saw. you throw a pick and it's a fire zone blitz or whatever it may be. And that's what they call seeing ghosts. You've seen something that actually wasn't there. I love that line. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. Deadfish says, to me, the Eagles are the big competition in the NFC. Big game on November 10th. Let's make them come to Lambeau Field. I love it too, because that's going to, first of all, weeks 1 and 2, Tim, another thing, this is going to be a measuring stick for the Packers.
Oh, yeah. We said that when schedule release happened. We said, hey, we're going to find out real quick who this team is.
Yep.
Real quick this year.
Yep. So you get that week 1, week 2 kind of gauge, and we're either going to be going, all right, boys, we got a shot this year, or you may be going, all right, let's step back, readjust, and get ready to make up some ground if you did start off slow. But like Deadfish says, though, you get the November 10, man, it's game on. You're going up to reigning, defending Super Bowl champs. Now let's see how we adjusted halfway through the year and what we could put together. I love it, man. Steve in the chat says, I want to see Golden or Watson burn Alexander deep for a touchdown. That's exactly how I feel, my man. Exactly how I feel. So let's go on down the line here a little bit, Tim. Let's round it out between 10 and 20. 10 is the LA Rams. 11 is the Broncos. 12 is the Niners. 13, the Texans. Buccaneers are 14. Vikings are 15. Bears are 16. Cowboys 17. Steelers 18. Dolphins 19. Cardinals 20. The big thing that sticks out to me here is the Minnesota Vikings at 15. Because there's some people that still think they're going to finish ahead of the Packers in the North. I just do not see it with a first-year starting quarterback. So them around the 15 spot, I'm starting to build a little confidence in this ESPN Power Index, man, because I've seen a lot of people that seem to think that Minnesota is not going to skip a beat with J.J. McCarthy being the quarterback, and I just could not disagree more. So the Vikings at 15. How cool is it, too? The Bears are right on the Vikings' heels. I bet Minnesota fans love that, don't they?
It's crazy. Hey, let Poles cook, right? You know, they signed that big extension, right? And I think you're right. I think, I mean, it wouldn't be insane if, you know, JJ McCarthy went out and balled out, I guess, you know, but there's just not a lot of precedence for a first year starter to just come in and just crush it like that. But then again, KOC, you know, they've got a legit scheme and a legit coach. So if you are a first year starter, that's a pretty good opportunity for you to find success, much like Jordan did here with Matt LaFleur as a first year starter. So I don't think it's fair to absolutely write off Minnesota. But I'm with you, Clayton. They got to prove it. You know, I don't think you can just live off of reputation, you know?
Yeah. Deadfish pointing out the elephant in the room here. The Bears are ahead of the Cowboys and the Steelers. You got to be kidding me. That's where they got them. You're right, man. They get the Bears at 16, the Cowboys 17, the Steelers at 18, even the Dolphins at 19, Cardinals at 20. What do you think about
Get ready to go.
The Bears being above the Cowboys and the Steelers? Because we know, listen, Aaron going to take that personal. He's never going to let the Bears finish in front of him.
That's like looking at 3 trash cans and telling me which one do I think looks better. I mean, whatever. Shake them all up, rank them wherever. I mean, I'm laughing at Jerry World right now too, just like anyone else. But yeah, it is interesting to see the Bears this high up on the list because, I mean, you could make an argument that Seattle should be higher up on the list than Chicago for sure.
Definitely. All right, let's get into the bottom dwellers here. 21, the Seahawks. 22, the Jaguars. 23, I need a Duval, Tim. Just whenever you get a chance, you cut me off with it. I need Duval in my life. Jaguars at 22. Woo, that's ugly, man. Got the Colts at 23.
Duval.
We got the Colts at 23. We got the Raiders at 24. The Patriots at 25. Falcons 26. I kind of feel like the Falcons should be a little higher. Am I wrong there, Tim? I don't know, man.
See, that's another one. Like, yeah, I don't understand. I could see them up a few more spots. I mean, certainly even ahead of maybe a team like Vegas, you know, Vegas or even Indy.
Definitely. Then you got the, like I said, Falcons 26, Giants 27, Panthers 28, Jets 29. They're, boy, oh boy. Remember 2 years ago when everybody was like, this is the year the Jets turn it around. Aaron coming to town. Boy, they did kind of get, you know, they raised from like around this spot, in my opinion, up to about 20th, you know?
Sure.
And now they're right back in the basement again.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible. And then, of course, you got the Browns at 30, Titans at 31, and then the New Orleans Saints.
Dude, the Browns get everything they deserve. They belong down there for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So there you go, guys. That is, according to the FPI ranking, again, that is on ESPN, the Football Power Index. All right. And you can listen, you can sort it by offense if you want to. I think it'll sort. Here we go. So these are the top offenses according to their Football Power Index. The Buffalo Bills 1, Ravens 2, Lions 3, Chiefs 4, Eagles 5, Commanders 6, Bengals 7, 49ers 8, Green Bay Packers are 9th, right behind the 49ers, okay? And then you got the Rams behind them, the Chargers, so on and so forth. So the Eagles drop from number 1 down to 5th there. The Bills go to number 1, Baltimore number 2 when it comes to the offense. Detroit still showing a top offense. The question is, will they skip a beat without their boy get ready to go? You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about those top 5 offensive rankings there and where the Packers sit at number 9?
Yeah, I think it's pretty accurate. I don't know. I might have had the Packers up a little higher, but again, looking at how last year was, with Jordan dealing with the injury issues off and on, and we had a couple of stagnant points in the season as an offense, but I'd put the Packers offense above San Francisco's right now. I mean, if we're talking just heading into the season, I'd put us up there, right in that same kind of realm as Washington, Cincinnati range. So I think it's a little low for us, but I'm happy. Hey, top 10 again. We'll take it.
Yes, sir. Let's go to defense now. And I think we will sort. Yeah, we should be sorting. The high number is the more valuable number here as opposed to most defensive rankings. Less is more. Philadelphia Eagles 1, Vikings 2, Chiefs 3, Ravens 4, Bears 5, Texans 6, Broncos 7, Steelers 8, Chargers 9. The Packers land in the number 10 spot, actually tied for 9th with the Chargers. So they are saying legit top 10 defense, which we've talked about. And, of course, you put them in the top 5 in run defense, definitely top 10 in pass defense. So, overall, they got them right around 10th.
Got us ranked higher than Detroit, baby. I'll take it.
I see it. What North teams are ahead of us in defense? The Vikings, the Bears, right? And the Lions are just below us. But when you look at the offensive difference there, I know those Bears fans like to pretend that Caleb Williams truly is generational, but my goodness, a minus 1.0 on offense, but a positive 1.2 on defense. The Vikings, a minus 0.9, which is right ahead of the Bears on offense, and they're sitting at a 1.8 on defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how the defense shakes out as well. But and then special teams, if we were to sort it real quick, Chargers, Steelers, Bucks, Cowboys, Bears are the top 5. Dolphins, Jaguars, Chiefs, Lions, Seahawks. I think that rounds out to 10. So it looks like we're somewhere around the 15 spot.
We'll take it.
Yeah. And again, not going to lose you a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we talked about this when we were at the bottom barrel. We were like 28th, 29th in special teams a few years back. And we talked about days like this. If we could just not be a dumpster fire, just be somewhere in that top half of the league, middle ground, and not be a liability on special teams. And I think, adding, guys like Danny Whelan and, bringing Brandon McManus in to help us with the kicking game. I think we've got some really, really good, talented young players that are going to change the way our return game looks, I think, this year. So special teams being in the middle ground for us going into the season, I'll take it. I think they may even be able to crack into that, top 10, top 12 range if we continue to improve.
Yeah. Greg Rice says the Bears are always great before games are played. And also 2-0 for this. Happy Ryan Poles extension day. If you guys didn't see it, he got a contract extension. My man has a winning percentage as a general manager of under 300 and somehow got an extension. Hey,
Caleb gave him an extra Sunday in a McFlurry today at work. He celebrated.
Which, by the way, man, let's talk McFlurry for a second. McDonald's sponsored the show. So I used to go Oreo McFlurry forever, right? And I switched it up and went M&M.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be honest, man. I think I like M&M better than Oreo. Maybe I'm just
they got to do it right, though. They got to make sure those M&Ms are crushed up enough. Otherwise, You're just getting whole chunks in there, right?
So I said, let's get the best of both worlds. I went through the drive-thru one night and said, hey, I'm willing to pay extra. Can I get both Oreo and M&M in the McFlurry? They said, I got you, fam. Tim, I did it. Never been more disappointed in my life, man. Sometimes sometimes you just got to let things stay the way they are. You know what I mean? You can try too hard for sure. So,
I love it.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Bears, I see some conversation here in the chat. Let's see here. Greg Rice says the Bears are always great there, blah, blah, blah. Holmes says, what am I missing? The Bears defense sucked worse than this chat. Shaking my head. I'm getting the strap. And then Ed Madden says Bears are too high. Did Adam Rank do this? So, on the surface, I kind of agree, but let's go to some of the advanced metrics. When we talk about EPA per drop back in terms of pass defense, where did the Bears land? So they landed at a 0.02, which, Tim, if I do the quick math, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That would make them tied for 7th in EPA per drop back. So I think this is probably pretty close, guys. That's just in terms of pass defense. I can't remember what they were run defense. I could probably pull that up real quick. Tim, what do you think? Do you feel like the Bears defense is getting too much love here? Or do you think it's just us Packer fans wanting them to suck worse than maybe they actually do? I'm going to pull up, not put it on the screen, but I'm going to try to grab the passing or the rush defense real quick and see exactly how they fared there in terms of yards per attempt.
I mean, it's tough. I don't keep myself super plugged into, Bears Twitter and, the news feeds of what's happening down there in good old Chi-Town. But I think looking back at last year, clearly the issue with their football team was the offensive side of the ball. Defense was probably the one good thing they had going for them. And so as much as it pains me to say, is I think it's fair to see where they're ranked right now. Again, this is going into the season. Everything changes when we line them up and snap the ball week 1, right? And like you always say, and it's a great point, is you really got to look at that season as a whole. You break it into 4 quarters. You want to try and win, your first cluster of games, second cluster of games, get through your bye week, get through the midpoint of the season, and close out strong. So the Bears, we can laugh at Caleb Williams all we want. We talk about, offensive line issues. We talk about quarterback issues, these kind of things. But the defense is always, at least the last handful of seasons, has been, at bare bones minimum, at least halfway decent. I don't remember seeing the Bears getting out and out boat raced last year. I mean, they probably struggled to put points on the board, but I don't think they were giving up insane amounts of points or anything. So,
yeah. And so I think it was Holmes that asked that. Maybe there was several people that disagree with the Bears being that high. When you look at the EPA per drop back, you think, that's probably about right. But when I jumped over to yards per rush attempt, I didn't realize they were this bad, Tim. They were 27th. 27th at 4.8 yards a clip is what they were giving up on the ground. So if you take 27th and around 7th or 8th, I think they were too kind to them on this list right here in terms of putting them with the football power index around, what is that?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, top 5 defense.
Yeah.
So,
when you put it like that, you're right.
Yeah, because, some people like that. Well, it's a passing game, right? It's a passing league. Yeah, that's true. But until you can't stop the run, and we've been there. Luckily, last year, we finally made it out of the wilderness, right? So there's nothing more frustrating than just watching a team run the ball down your freaking throat constantly and not being able to do anything about it. So anything else you want to look at on this list, or any final comments on this football power index by ESPN?
I think overall, when you look at all these rankings, the index, bottom line, man, it seems like the mainstream likes to throw a lot of shade at Green Bay, but if you look at the tail of the tape, man, we're in the conversation, top 10 across the board, period. I don't care who you are, what you think. And it's just a matter of time. We're, what are we, 10 days away from camp, something like that? I mean, football's going to be here before you know it. And, it's going to be time to go out there and, walk the walk. But I think it's good. I feel good going into this season. I really do. I mean, I'm a Packer fan for life. I feel good going into every year. I survived the 80s. I'll be fine right now, right? So we'll take top 10 going into the start of the season. I love it.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right. So again, there you go. There is your football power index according to ESPN. What I'm coming away with, guys, Green Bay's a top 10 team. They're the 4th best team in the NFC. Like Tim said, before any games are played, kind of feels like they're in that range. Hey, to me, that's better than where we were going into the season last year. And it's way better than it was going into the year or going into the season for the 2023 season. So you're seeing this team is ascending, right?
Yep.
And again, going into last year, I said 10 to 13 wins. They won 11. This year, I said 11 to 14 wins is kind of what I'm seeing. I feel like 11's the basement, barring any crazy, just injury bug that hits the Packers. So wouldn't be surprised if they won 12 or 13 games this year, Tim. How cool would it be if Matt LaFleur got his 13th win? What would that be now? That would be his 4th time doing that, I believe. I think he did it 3 years in a row with Aaron.
Yeah, his first, I believe the first, 2 or 3 seasons was 13 wins. So, yeah, I mean, you know me, I got us going 14-3 like I always do. So, I mean, 13 certainly is possible. I'll take it. But hey, bottom line, right? We don't care. Wild card berth, win the division, go in as a top seed, get a bye, whatever. Make the playoffs, get into the Super Bowl, and bring Lombardi home. That's what I care about.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Tim, if you're going to bring the Lombardi home, that defense is. I don't think it needs to take a huge step forward, but it can't take a huge step back. There's a little buffer for it to take a slight step back. And you guys have heard me talk about that this offseason, right? One of the reasons I mention it is because teams now have all this film on Jeff Hafley's defense as where they didn't have it last year. So they're going to be more prepared going into this season to attack Jeff Hafley's defense. Now, the question for Jeff Hafley is, hey, we finished as legit a top 5 defense, essentially is what it comes down to. But, borderline top 5 overall, but definitely in the top 7 or 8. So now, do you just continue doing what you're doing until other teams prove they can really attack you? Or do you adjust before they adjust? Because you can kind of overcorrect there, right? And when I talk about that, I haven't been really, really specific, but when you start to add wrinkles to a defense, Tim, you're asking for trouble. Now, the positive, there's pros and cons to every adjustment that you make as a coaching staff, whether you're at the NFL, pro, or high school level. But when you make those adjustments, you got to know if it don't work, hey, let's deviate back a little bit. But the problem is if you hammer one thing all training camp long, and then once you come out of training camp, 2 games in, you go, all right, guys, scrap that crap. Your team is going to lose all confidence in it. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of be even keel. Whether it's offense or defense schematically, it's like Jell-O. You can push it, just not too hard. You know what I mean?
That's Jeff Hafley, man. I think that our DC man is a guy that, to me, he strikes me as a guy that is not going to get complacent. He's not going to get comfortable. He's not going to just lean on the old, hey, this is what we do here and this worked, so why mix it up? I don't think he's going to do that. But I also don't think he's going to throw out the whole scheme and just, have no backbone and constantly try and reinvent himself all the time. So I think that's a great point, Clayton. You want to stress these things in camp, throughout your mini camp, your OTAs, and then you get through training camp preseason, you get your install in, and you want to build in that flexibility. You want to build in the versatility, the different looks, so that if you're in week 8 and something happens and you're making a change on the fly in the game, your team does have confidence because this is what you prepared for all year long. And it was kind of built into your scheme to be adaptable. I'm sure we'll get into further detail, but we talked about Coach Covington coming into the fold here and wanting to mix in some of those 34 looks and wanting to, get creative with the defensive front. And I think Jeff Hafley is a guy that's going to be all for that. And I think this defense will have an identity, but I think we will adapt and improvise and overcome, as the Marines would say. Right, Clay?
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to nerd out here a little bit. All right, guys, it's going to be almost like a chalk talk segment. So stick with me. I didn't dive completely in, but when you hear me say you got to be a little bit careful on how much you put on the player's plate, you go back to Joe Barry, his first year as a defensive coordinator, your defense got better. And then as time went on, they declined, right? And Tim, how many times did we see blown coverages, right? We've seen, I hate saying casual fan because it sounds like I'm insulting people, but there's a portion of the fan base and some people who have a huge following on this damn defense, it's Joe Barry this, Joe Barry that. And I'm going, Bub, he didn't leave that space on. He didn't go, you know what, guys, don't worry about the middle of the field. When you see a huge void, someone blew a coverage. Someone crapped the bed, right? So I'm going to talk about how keep in mind he played the Fangio style defense. At least that was the plan coming in, and then they realized, crap, we can't do this, so they went more middle field close and buzzed a lot as opposed to playing with 2 on the shelf. But I'm going to give you just a little glimpse into match principles and how difficult it is for these players to not only learn the scheme, learn the system, but also be able to adapt and make decisions in real time. And then, of course, we can't ignore the fact that our roster got a lot better with the addition of an Xavier McKinney, Edgerrin Cooper, Evan Williams, players like that, right? So, again, hang with me, and I'm going to try not to nerd out too much, but I just want to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about when I say this stuff, okay? I'm going to zoom out just a touch because I'll just kind of read it. But here we go. When Jeff Hafley arrived in Green Bay, all of the talking heads began making assumptions as if they were experts on understanding the complexity of NFL defenses. Many media members began spouting that Jeff Hafley was going to play an aggressive man coverage defense, including but not limited to press man. Tim, do you remember that?
We're going to play press man, baby. Let's go.
No more cushion. We're going to get up on the line of jam, everybody.
Every single play, every week, every matchup, press man. Let's go.
And I was sitting back going, man, people are going to, like, I remember getting angry at the media members thinking, y'all are setting these fans up to be angry all year. And
yeah, they love it because it builds engagement for their accounts and their, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So what followed was totally the opposite. Rather than increasing man coverage, Jeff Hafley went back to the roots of his cover 3 zone upbringing, one that originates with the Legion of Boom days in Seattle, but with a twist. Hafley chose to press into cover 3, cover 2, and cover 6, all zone looks with match potential, meaning there can be match principles, but you could tell he really throttled back the match. If you guys don't know what that means, it's matching patterns. Okay, so you can run a zone defense, and if you're playing like a cover 2 match or a cover 3 match, it's if and then, meaning if the receiver does this, then my coverage becomes that. So again, you're forcing your players to read what the receiver is running and play with the proper technique, with the understanding that the guy behind you is going to be in his spot, and understand that if you're playing poach and all these terms, you'll hear me say stuff like poach and clamp and all these different techniques that we talk about all the time. They're different styles of cover 3 and cover 3 match and quarters match, which we're going to dive into the Nick Saban quarters match defense here, okay? So, again, match principles are pretty much universal, but Nick Saban ran a quarters look, 2 on the shelf, and how many championships did he win doing that, right? So, again, Jeff Hafley came up in the old Seattle cover 3 defense. It was a cover 3 buzz is essentially what it was, right? You guys remember the talk or the talk across the league forever, how it was Richard Sherman doesn't follow the number 1 receiver, and that's why he's not the best corner. This is why, because they played predominantly zone defense. Doesn't mean they didn't play some man, but they played mainly cover 3 buzz. And you'll see here with buzz, again, the corner drops in the deep third. The safety will buzz the box into a hook curl, and the linebacker covers the curl flat. And typically that safety that was buzzing the box was Cam Chancellor, one of the deadliest safeties, safeties in the league. Now you had Earl Thomas, I think it was his name, right? Earl Thomas was patrolling center field and playing post safety in that middle field close cover 3 look. All right, so that's
Bobby Wagner flying all over the place.
Exactly. You have Bobby Wagner basically sitting in a hook curl in the middle of the field and just, absolutely destroying run gaps the entire game, right? So, again, if you look here, you could drop that down now, Tim. Thank you for pulling that up, Bob. If you look at what the Packers ran last year, once again, 25% of the time they ran cover 2 zone. Guys, they ran more cover 2 zone than anyone else in the league. And keep in mind, going into the season, the experts were saying we were going to play man. Guys, we only played cover 1 man 16% of the snaps, cover 0 3%, and 2 man under, which is 2 deep safeties, man coverage underneath, less than 1% of the time.
Explain why we drafted all these corners that only can play zone. They're not man corners.
So cover 2 zone 25% of the time. We played cover 3 zone 33% of our defensive snaps. We played cover 6 12% of the snaps, and cover 4 9% of the snaps. So keep in mind, if you're wondering what cover 6 is, first of all, you got to ask yourself, what's cover 2? Cover 2 is 2 deep safeties, right? they're responsible for half of the field deep. All right. And then everybody else is blanketed underneath. You can mix and match a little blitz if you like. All right. So that's cover 2. Then when we went to cover 3, it's 3 deep. Typically, it's the outside corners deep third, and you got a post safety deep middle third, right? And then when you go to cover 4, it's exactly what it sounds like. 4 deep. Everybody's responsible for a quarter of the field if you're playing just simple country quarter spot drop, which is drop and cover a zone. You're not matching patterns, right? So cover 6 is a combination, okay? Cover 6 is a combination between cover 4 and cover 2. So half the field is cover 2 zone. The other half is cover 4, okay? And you can flip and flop if you want the – I personally like the cover 4 side to be the field side and the half to be the boundary. But you can also trick people into attacking underneath. If you put on tape for week in and week out, you're playing quarters there, they'll attack underneath. And if you go with what we call a cover 9 look, where you'll actually put the cover 2 side on the field side, the big side of the field, and then the cover 4 on the weak side of the field, or not the weak side, but the boundary side, the short side of the field, you can kind of play what they call clamp, and you can force them into throwing underneath, right? So we'll talk about all that here in a second. I just want to point out that's what we actually ran last year, was predominantly cover 3 zone, Jeff Hafley getting back to his roots, just like we said, cover 2 25% of the time, and cover 6 a combination of cover 4 and cover 2 12% of the time. All right, let's carry on. With 1 year under his belt, now the question becomes, do we add layers to keep things simple? For me, the answer is easy. Keep things simple. All right. It became a common pastime for Packer fans to make fun of Joe Barry for having large open voids in his defense while in Green Bay. The reality is Joe Barry's defense was not designed with large voids. Those voids were miscommunications, errors by below-average players like Eric Stokes, Darnell Savage, Jonathan Owens, and Devondre Campbell. Let me hit time out here for a second. There's going to be some people who are always defending Joe Barry. If I'm defending Joe Barry, then what you're telling me is you would rather have Eric Stokes over Carrington Valentine, right? Or Eric Stokes over Nate Hobbs, who they signed this year. Hell, Eric Stokes over Keyshawn Nixon. Not going to happen, right? You're also telling me you would rather have Darnell Savage over Xavier McKinney. That's laughable, right? Okay. You're also telling me you'd rather have Jonathan Owens over Evan Williams. See? And then, of course, probably the biggest laughable side of this, you're telling me you'd rather have Devondre Campbell over Edgerrin Cooper.
Stop playing.
All 4 of those key positions for playing pass defense, right? We upgraded by literally flipping the roster, okay? Now, again, the reason those voids were there were you had these guys that didn't have 2 brain cells to rub together in trying to play a match defense, and that's why in the second half of the season, the defense got better, and it got better as you got in the playoffs because literally Matt LaFleur stepped in and said, stop it, Joe. They can't do it. We're going middle field close from here on out. And went to a cover 3 look. And then you end up firing Joe Barry. You scrapped half the players that were, complaining and moaning about the defense they were being asked to run. And then you go out and you get a guy who grew up in a cover 3 defense, and you went predominantly 33% of the snaps on defense, cover 3 middle field close. So, again, don't listen to what coaches and GMs say. Watch what they do.
They do, yep.
So, all right, now insert this guy right here, this madman, Nick Saban. All right, let's talk about his defense a little bit, and let's talk about what caused the errors. What caused the errors? Sure, some of it was lack of talent. A lot of it was lack of talent, right? I would even say it was the majority of the problem. However, with Joe Barry's defense came match-heavy principles. Now, Jeff Hafley is faced with the questions, do we try to advance the defense with more matchy play calls? My answer is only on a minimal basis, if at all. Hafley's defense was not void of match calls, okay? So don't take this the wrong way. We were just playing spot drop the whole time. That was not the case. There were match calls. We talked about it on Chalk Talk. Yep, Tim, I think that's match right there. We would talk about why it was match and why we thought it was match, okay? The reality is none of us truly know what the call is because we're not in the meeting rooms, okay? And that's where you got to kind of, after the fact, all right, try to determine, yes, this is what I think they're doing here, right? So let's see. Only far fewer than Barry's scheme. Below is one tiny example of how things can become very complex while playing match coverage. Let's dive into a small, and I mean a very, very small, guys. This is this much of Saban's defense, okay? A small technical side of Nick Saban's match-heavy Hoarders defense that won several national championships at Alabama. So we're going to dive into several different techniques that's involved with that, but we're going to do it on the other side. So for those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We're going to break these down here. We appreciate y'all.